I respect your time, so I'm going to get right down to it. I'm going to read notes, and this is going to be raw. I'm here to talk about the underutilized housing tax. I'm here to talk about ongoing education, and I'm here to show you this place, let you peek into my hideout. Mostly we're going to talk about the housing tax, so I'm going to show you the place while I talk, so it's not super boring. It's going to be about 3.5 minutes. I'll try and go as fast as I can, but I want to tell you everything I knew. I was on a webinar with Corey from Fearless Real Estate. Props to him. He was hosting a show with a guy named George Dube. He's a CPA and a CA, a real estate specific accountant that Corey and Tiffany from Fearless Real Estate Investors use themselves. He knows what he's doing. And ongoing education, underutilized housing tax education today. I got meetings with 2 of my mentors of business growth and a joint venture specific mentor this week. We got an infill meetup and a joint venture live program coming up tomorrow, 24 hours. Okay, so this utilized housing tax, okay? I'm going to read you some of my notes and then the questions and the answers while you take a tour of this place. The deadline is October 31st. Generally speaking, they're talking about how this is a new thing and it's up in the air and they may or may not audit and it's very interpretive. So the bottom line is if you have creative ownership on something through trusts, joint ventures, corporations, or partnerships, it would probably be smart to file because the potential fines are fairly large. $5,000 for an individual, $10,000 for a corporation. Get on it. You need a form online. It's 7 pages long. The last 3 pages are just like definitions. The first time it's going to be a little bit difficult to figure out, and it'll get easier and easier and easier. The accountant that was talking about it was very pessimistic about the whole thing in general and the large, exorbitant new fees. He says get something filed regardless of... There are exceptions, but it's a battle to be filed to minimize... But you want to file to minimize attention, fly under the radar. So you could be exempt, but you might as well throw something in so you can just avoid those big fines. Don't forget to schedule this for next summer, so it's not down to crunch time. Some boxes that you want to tick on your file are 620 and 625. Those are what most investors are going to hit, one of those 2 boxes as an exemption, because the ownership is not greater. 10% of the ownership isn't or greater isn't foreign interest. Does that make sense? 10% of ownership or more isn't of foreign interest. Those 2 boxes. We encourage you to file 1 form per property. If you're in a joint venture and there's an owner on title and you're a joint venture partner, you pretty much got to do 1 each. It's kind of a pain in the butt. They're looking for 3 dwellings or less on a property. If you're a 4-plex or more, he says you're exempt. He still suggested caveat, just file to be safe or whatever, but there is an exemption for 4 plexes or more. Don't take a chance, file something. It's not needed for a vacant lot. If you have a vacant lot and there's nothing on it, you don't need to file. An interpretive process with a hot potato form is some funny words about how it was described. You need to fill out a form per partner. We mentioned that. If 1 person on title, it essentially needs to be 1 person to file it. But some joint venture partners who aren't necessarily registered on title but have secured interest through trusts or joint ventures, they should probably throw it in too just to avoid those fines. There's not many others that have looked into this as much as me, says George, professional real estate CPA, who's been following the development of this program since COVID. So that's my notes. Here's the questions I asked. When someone has to file the UHT forms filled out, do they submit that form to their accountant or do they submit that form directly to the CRA? The answer was directly to the CRA. The accountants don't want to be involved, and just explaining your creative process to them for them to be interpretive. Now they're liable, and there's like the telephone game. They said just directly to the CRA is best. Will the submission forms be the same from province to province? Would someone in Ontario and BC to be able to use the same forms for properties in Alberta? There's 1 form for the whole country. That's helpful. 1 form for the whole country. It's all the same. How does it affect a property with a mortgage versus a property owned with no mortgage and all cash? The answer is irrelevant. That's irrelevant. We're talking about the exemptions for underutilized houses. The last question here was how do you figure out what's on the land registry for your property? You can simply just pull your own title. Pull your own title, it'll see what's there, and that's probably what they'll cross-reference. But he says a lot's up for interpretation, so you might as well file to be safe and avoid any possibilities of those exorbitant fines. That's what I know. That's what I've learned. I hope you liked my hideout. Don't forget to get on these things, educate yourself, get your net in the water. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful information. Contact me anytime. I do this stuff for my partners and I learn this stuff so they don't have to. And this is just a good place where we can learn together. Thanks for watching.